What's up, guys? I've been kind of inspired by a lot of these YouTube videos, people sharing their tripping experiences, and well, I have a pretty good one myself. It was the first time I'd ever decided to trip, and just so happened to be shrooms, shitload of shrooms too. So I meet up with my friend Dylan. He has this quarter of shrooms. Really excited to do them. What actually got me inspired to do shrooms was Harold and Kumar, when Neil Patrick Harris he takes the shrooms and he sees like a unicorn or some shit. I thought it was so cool. And felt like I was ready to felt like I was ready to experience that trip. Little did I know, nothing nothing like a real trip at all. Totally inaccurate. But anyways, here's my story. So meet up with my friend Dylan. Go to his house. He has this quarter and just these huge caps. I'm so ready to do it. Um, we didn't eat them with anything. We actually chewed them up with orange juice. And I'm not sure if I'm totally accurate on this either, but as far as I know, vitamin C enhances your trip, which I didn't know. He did. I did not know about it at all. So we chew them up, and God, they just taste horrible, disgusting. But I swallow them all down. Had a eighth a piece, three whatever, 3, 5, 3, 6, whatever you want to call it. And so we eat them, and we rented this nature video. This is like nature's most amazing experiences, like cheetahs and lions mauling gazelles and shit like that. Thought it would be ideal for our trip to watch that. Little did I know that was the wrong thing to watch. So we start watching this film, and I kind of start to feel it. My hands are really sweaty, and I'm looking at them like, why are my hands so sweaty? I start to feel really drunk, like completely drunk, like hammered. I'm like, this is fucking awesome, I like this a lot. So we're watching it, and all of a sudden, the cheetah prints on the cheetahs just start kind of morphing, and they start, start turning and running off. That kind of started to trip me out a little bit, but I didn't have this overwhelming feeling, so I was like, alright, this is cool, I can deal with this. About 10-15 minutes later, I'm just staring off into space, and I'm just like, oh god, something's gonna happen. I look over my buddy, and he looks completely gone. He's staring off into space, sweating his ass off. I'm like, fuck. I run to the bathroom. I end up throwing up. Uh, threw up all the shrooms. Was looking at him in the toilet, and right there is when the trip really hit me. I remember he had tile floor in his bathroom, and there were dots sequenced all over the tile, and they were just jumping, intersecting each other like jumping beans. I was pretty freaked out about that. I was like, okay, so this is what it's like to trip. I finished puking, pull myself together, washing my hands in the sink, wash my face, with cold water on my face, and I look up at the mirror, and I lick my lips like that, and I don't see it correspond in the mirror. I get kind of freaked out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, anything you do in front of a mirror, it's supposed to correspond. And I mean, I just was like this in the mirror. So it really tripped me out. I turn around and I look at his wallpaper in the bathroom, and there's just this pattern, kind of like little spades, if you will. And they're morphing, they're going up, they're going down, vertical, sideways, horizontal, whatever you want to say. Kind of starts to freak me out a little bit. I'm not too overwhelmed at this point, but definitely know that I'm tripping. Kind of feel like I'm in a different place. So I get out of the bathroom, and as soon as I walk into his room, back into his room, he's just standing up, and he already knows what to say before I even say anything. I'm just like, man, I think I'm sick. He's just like, yeah, man, yeah, yeah. And I was just like, okay. So I sit down and I'm just kind of holding my head like this and kind of trying to pull myself back together. And I kind of look over at him again and he's just staring at me like. So I'm like, dude, I kind of want to lay down. Is there any way you could just go in the other room, or I could go in the other room? I really want to lay down. He's kind of just tripping me out. I don't really feel good. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, totally. He grabs a blanket, a pillow, and he looks at the TV and he's staring at the nature. And he's just like in awe. He's just like, and he turns the TV off, throws his blanket and pillow back on the bed, stares at me again, walks out of the room. At this point, that kind of messed me up a little bit. So I was just laying there in the bed, kind of keeping it to myself, trying to fall asleep. Not really working well. He opens the door slowly, and I mean slow, like as slow as somebody can open a door. And he's staring into the room, and it's dark, but I can still see his face. He's just staring at me. I'm like, Dylan, what are you doing? He's like, my dad's watching a segment about puking. I'm like, what? And then he looks at me really confused. He's like, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And at that point, I think what it was is his dad heard me puking, so he was talking to somebody on the phone about it. I don't know. To this day, I really don't know what that was supposed to mean. So he's just looking at me. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I don't know. I'm like, dude, please just leave the room or I'll go in the living room. I just need to be alone right now. He's just staring at me with this quirky little smile, like, just completely puzzled. He doesn't know what to do. I'm like, please, dude, just leave me alone. Like, I'm not feeling good right now. I kind of just want to be alone. So he just slowly creeps out, leaves the door open and everything. So I want to say about 10, 20, maybe 15 minutes go by. All of a sudden I hear these noises. Like, bang! Bang! I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is that noise? And so I don't know if it's me tripping. I don't know. I didn't know if it was like an animal outside that just made it sound completely weird. I didn't know what to think. Kind of settled down a little bit. So I was back to trying to fall asleep. I hear it again. It's really loud this time though. And then all of a sudden I hear in a really, really deep, deep demonic tone, Dylan died a good death. I immediately jump up and I'm like, what the fuck? So I walk out, I walk through the kitchen into the living room where he's at. I'm creeping. It's really dark. I'm really scared. And I look in and I see him in the corner of the couch biting his nails. His eyes just wide awake, staring at me. Completely fucked me up. So I run back through the kitchen into the room. I shut the door. I'm just laying there staring off into this dark blank space. I'm just like, man, I just please God, just let this stop. It's freaking me out. I will never do anything again. And I'm a big weed smoker, so I was completely, I was like, I will never smoke weed again. Please God, please God. And I'm not even religious, so I don't know why I was praying to God. I was just completely fucked. And staring off in this blank space and see a little boy and an older little girl. I didn't know if it resembled me and my sister. It didn't look like us. I didn't know what kind of visual that was. They're just standing there with these blank expressions on their face. And I just kind of staring at it. And then all of a sudden their eyes get real big and faces turn really gray, and their mouths open real wide like that, and they just point at me. That completely fucked me. That was the point where I was like, alright, I need to get out of here. This is not a good place for me. Normally, I'm the kind of person that would help somebody through a trip, but I was so completely fucked and tripped out that I needed to just go. So I get shit, and I run through the kitchen, and I know I have to pass him in the living room to get out the door. So I'm like, okay, I build up the courage, and I just kind of walk out and I stare at him, and he's completely fucked. He's just chewing his nails and staring at me. His eyes just watch me. So I get out, get in my car. I'm like, got the key in the ignition, start the ignition, and as the motor starts, I feel like, get out of here, kitty. Sorry, stupid cat. As I turn the ignition on, I feel the car just rise up, like I was 4 feet in the air, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Cars are not supposed to fly. I'm like, fuck it. I put it in drive, and I drive up, and I lived like a mile down the road, so it wasn't too horrible. I don't know what it was. I did not know where the fuck I was. It's like a straight shot down to my house, and I felt like I was taking left turns, right turns, left turns. Nothing looked familiar. Everything was like Nightmare Before Christmas or like Avatar or some weird shit like that. And the street signs are just popping out in my face, and it's going back. And it's completely fucked. I don't have a lot of recollection of what happens after that. All I know is I kind of snap out of it, and I look around, and I'm in my garage. I'm like, holy shit, I made it. This is fucking a miracle. Walk out, I get in my house, the locks are like, I can't even find the fucking key that works. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did they change the locks? I get in, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I got in. And my sister's standing right there. She's like, what is wrong with your eyes? And I'm like, me and Dylan did shrooms, and he just really freaks me out, and I close my eyes, and I look up at her, and it's my friend's face on her. Really, really scares me. I just walk right by her. I lay down. I'm just staring at the ceiling, and as I breathe, the ceiling comes in, and everything in the room gets closer, and I discreet, and everything backs up against the, surface again. And the bed I was on, it was like a twin, so it was like, small as it is, but it felt like it was this small, and I'm just like, I'm gonna fall off. Anyways, I finally fall asleep, and the weirdest thing is I have a dream about what actually happened. Really, really weird. And I call my friend the next day, and I guess he was in such a bad trip, he woke up to his dad holding him, and his nails were bloody, like he bit through his nails. Completely fucked. But, anyways, that's my tripping story, and I hope you kind of enjoyed that. Thanks.